morning, everyone. Can anyone hear me? Please, can you say something to confirm you can see me or you can hear me?
Hi, good morning. I can see you and I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. We just wait. I want to officially welcome us to another section of the AI series training. We will just wait for some few minutes for others to join in, and then we'll take it up from there. Thank you. Section of the AI series training. Just wait for some few minutes for others to join in, and then we'll take it up from there. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just share my slide again. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Mrs. Obele, yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
You want to share it as a test or just
I'm just gonna share. I just realized that you couldn't hear me. That's why I went back. Well, okay.
it's 11 o'clock? We will start right away. However, while I'm making the introductions and every other thing, we'll also use that to wait for more persons to join the call. So, as I said earlier on, good morning, everyone. You're welcome to the AI series webinar. We'd like to know where you're joining us from Nigeria here, from Ireland, from the US, from Mexico, from Cape Verde, just anywhere. Just drop in the comment section where you're joining us from and your profession, probably what you do, so that we have an understanding of the category of people that are joining us on this call today. So please, can you just, you know, go to the chat section on our screen and type in one or two things, tell us where you're joining us from and what you do. It will be interesting to know us, just a way of introduction, and let us get to know each other very well. So please, I'm waiting. I'm on the chat box message. I'm waiting for us to drop some messages. Let us just do a bit of introduction before we start off. While we use that to just wait for more persons to join the call. Okay, anyone? Mr. Sheo, Placida, just let us drop a message on the message chat box. Mr. Genga, let us know where you're joining us from. You're welcome, Mr. Patrick Albert. Can you drop in the message box where you're joining from, Mr. Ladimeji Adegoke? You're welcome. Mr. Ladi Waters from Osogbo State, a big data analyst. Thank you, Mr. Ladi. You're welcome. Please let us drop more messages on the on the message box, the chat box, just a way of introducing ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Ladi. Yes. Bolotayo Daniels, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. All right, Mr. Gbenga Ajayi joining from Ikeja, Lagos. Mr. Patrick Albert joining from Lagos. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, can we have more persons introduce themselves? Mr. Kingsley Ebimo, a legal practitioner joining from Surulere, Lagos. Mr. Kellex, you're welcome. Mr. Kingsley, rather, sorry, you're welcome. Thanks for joining this call. All right, so while more persons join and introduce yourself, I'll just take it off from there. So today, as I said, it's going to be also an interesting section, as we always have, week in, week out. Today, we're looking at the use of AI tools to develop your skills. All right. And of course, as you know, the AI series has started off since last year, and we've been, you know, organizing trainings on AI as it relates to different professions in order to ensure that we become better at what we do and also we align with the trends and how we can adapt AI to different types of our skills, our professions, so that we get the best out of it and also make ourselves better in our own endeavors in what we do so that in any competitive environment we can always be there to be able to contribute value in our organizations and across every place or everywhere we find ourselves irrespective of our location. So this morning we have our able speaker, our facilitator, Mrs. Obele Akiniroy. Very quickly, I will be running through our profile. Please, I want us to just pay attention while I read her profile and I welcome her this morning to take us on today's topic. Mrs. Obele Akiniroy is a leading expert in the field of artificial intelligence, law, specializing in the intersection of technology and legal frameworks. With a strong foundation in corporate and commercial law, Obele has dedicated her career to understanding and shaping the regulatory landscape of emerging AI technologies. Looking at academic background and research focus, Obele holds an LLB in law from the University of Buckingham and an LLM in corporate and commercial law from King's College London. Current PhD research at Maynard University is focused on the regulation of autonomous vehicles from a civic liability perspective. Our work aims to benchmark the efficacy of the EU framework for AI civic liabilities, particularly as it pertains to autonomous vehicle as a subject of autonomous intelligent robots. Obele's research interests extend beyond autonomous vehicles to encompass broader areas of AI law, including data protection, privacy, and the ethical implications of AI. Our work seeks to address the challenges and opportunities presented by the rapid advancement of AI technologies and to ensure that legal frameworks are equipped to handle the complexities of this emerging field. Looking at our personal experience, prior to academic pursuits, Obele ran a successful law firm in Nigeria, specializing in corporate and commercial law. This experience has provided her with a practical understanding of the legal challenges faced by business and organizations in the rapidly evolving technological landscape. In terms of our teaching and academic contribution, in addition to her research, Obele is a dedicated educator. She teaches legal technology at the Technology University of Shannon, Hatlown, and various aspects of technology law at the National University of Ireland, Maynooth. Our teaching contributions are instrumental in preparing the next generation of legal professionals to navigate the complexity of the digital age. A key area of expertise: AI law and policy, autonomous vehicle regulation, data protection and privacy, legal technology, higher education, that's law teaching. Obele Akinrinya's experience and contributions to the field of AI law make her a valuable asset in shaping the future of technology and its legal implications. Her research, teaching, and professional experience positions her as a leading authority on the intersection of law and AI. With our hands on our keyboard, typing all the various emojis, clapping and what have you, let us make a resounding welcome to Mrs. Obele Akinroy as she takes us on the use of AI tool to develop our skills. Mrs. Obele, you have the floor. Thank you so much. You're
Good
welcome.
morning. Good morning. Thank you, Babajide, for such an interesting readout of my profile. I was wondering who is he talking about? I'm sure it's somebody else. Okay, so today I'm looking at legal design. Legal design. So one of the things we find out is that lawyers sometimes do not see their skill as a product. Product design is an aspect of professionalism that we have to incorporate into our businesses, and being able to design tools or legal tools that can benefit society is definitely one of the things that is necessary and would enhance um, our practice or our businesses or our law businesses, as it were. So legal design, developing your innovative and entrepreneurial skills. We all have entrepreneurial skills. For those of us that run our businesses, for those of us that are employees in one way or the other, we have entrepreneurial skills. That's why we are in a job and we're able to make a living. Now, the idea is that what we're trying to speak is incorporating artificial intelligence or technology into that entrepreneurial skills to make you more productive. How do we go about doing that? What do you need to know? Um, last funny enough, it was our last training, which is why sometimes people say, oh, they don't they don't have an interest in a specific area if the topic doesn't resonate with them. But the thing about what we do here at AI series is that we have trainings. On the last training we had Miss Omo Clark, who spoke about AI and entrepreneurial innovation. And basically in that session we had like a 3-step plan for building an innovative and entrepreneurial business. So what I did in trying to put together this session, I basically took that 3-step plan for an innovative and entrepreneurial business, and I'm going to be looking at it from that point of view. So the 3-step plan is, first of all, if you have an idea, or you just like a doctor would diagnose a patient for having a specific illness, in the event, in the case of a business or a law business, what you need to do is you clearly have to first of all discover what customers are you trying to reach, who are your target audience, what problem exists that you're trying to solve. Okay, is it a legal problem, or is that legal problem, could that legal problem be solved better with some form of technology? So you need to identify the problem and define that problem that you have identified. When you identify the problem, the next thing you now need to do is you need to come up with a design to solve the problem you have identified. So that design to solve the problem is what it is I want us to talk about today, which is where legal design comes up. Identifying the problem, um, coming up with a legal design, a solution design, which will be a legal solution design. Okay, of course there are other aspects, but those that will be further topics we'll be looking about at a later stage. So we'll be looking at the market research design for lawyers, or business planning for lawyers, and then we'll be looking at how you can commercialize and you can scale at another webinar. But for today, what we want to look at is legal solution design. What is the legal design? Legal design, basically, as a solution design, is just basically for lawyers that have a problem, how they plan to solve that problem. Once you've identified the problem, you conduct a market research. Then
Sorry,
once
sorry, Ms. Obele. I don't
Yes.
know. You're not sharing your screen. I don't know if that's intentional. Maybe you just wanted to give an introduction or something.
Oh, it's not moving. Oh, okay,
It's
that's
not even shared at all. We're not
are
seeing
you
it.
serious?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I thought it was shared. Oh, my bad, I'm sorry.
No problem.
um mm, Sorry, I thought it was shared. Is it sharing now?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
So just move to
My
this.
apologies. I actually thought I had
No
shared
problem.
it, because I shared it even before you started speaking.
Yeah. You can move to the slide where you are now, so you can proceed from
Okay.
there. We're following.
Okay. So this was a slide I was speaking about. So the customer discovery, problem definition, solution design, market research, and business planning. Okay. So legal design is as a solution design is it basically makes provisions for where there's a problem or a problem has been diagnosed, how you can go about conducting your market research to know who needs the services, how much people are willing to pay for that services, how you can actually commercialize an app ordinarily or a product, and how after commercializing it, how you can upscale that product that you have actually commercialized. Okay, now to do that, obviously when you've identified a problem, sometimes in identifying the problem, it could be a problem that is an existing problem. So it could be that the particular tool you're using or the particular system you're using. So if we're looking at a lease agreement that you've been using and you decide you want to now upscale it, or you want to come up with a legal design to make that lease agreement a better document, now a much better document, you would have to look at it. What kind of method are you going to use? Are you going to basically use a creative destruction mechanism where you basically look at it and either you totally destroy it and then engage with the material and rework it? Now, from the what you would look at will be framing some kind of legal design from whatever it is. So the tool that you're basically trying to work on, you will basically come up with some kind of creative destruction where you look at it and try to solve the problem. It's somewhat akin to like where you have a kitchen, you want to renovate your kitchen. So your kitchen has a gas cooker, it has cupboards and all of that. But sometimes those things are either old or it's not working as well. When you want to renovate the kitchen, you could either decide to tear down the whole kitchen, or you basically can decide to renovate the kitchen incrementally. So the issue is, do you want to do it by a total breakdown or do you want to do it incrementally? Now, Joseph Schumer Peters has an economic theory where he basically says creative destruction as a process is used to dismantle old system and create new ones. Why is it a competitive frontier for you to come up with legal design to be able to give you an edge? It gives you a competitive edge or a frontier, as it were, because you are not just a barrister and solicitor as a lawyer. You can also actively call yourself a legal innovator. And the startups that you come up with could be additional sources of income, making you a market leader in that area. So looking at legal design as an area you would like to go into to improve your productivity is definitely something you should definitely consider. Now, once you're able to consider that, the next thing is obviously ensuring that you incorporate the commercialization aspect of it, because sometimes you could actually deploy a tool for your personal use. So it could be you deploy the tool just to make your business productive, but then you could also deploy that tool and then commercialize it and then upscale, and you can now sell it and be able to make money. So it could become a tool that you make for yourself, but that tool now you can actually sell it, which will now be commercialized in the open legal space. What is a legal design? So it's more or less a human-centered problem solving approach to the law. So the law is there, that legal issues that are there. Sometimes the law is there, it may solve the problem, but it may be not solving the problem the way it, and or there could be a better way of doing it. So coming up with technology tools by coming up with a legal design would help. How do we do that? We combine our knowledge of the law, we combine our design thinking skills. I also look at the technology that is available and the relevant business model. Of course, you have to use business models, because if you come up with a beautiful app or a beautiful tool and you haven't applied the relevant business model to the environment where you find yourself, you may not be able. So you might have a good product but just not have the right customers, particularly if you're selling it to the wrong people. So we need to be able to focus on our accessibility. How usable is the tool that you're creating? How innovative is it? So you need to look at it from a legal technology point of view. Now, the baba, the mama of all legal design issues is a lady called Margaret Hagen. She's the director of Legal Design Lab in Stanford University in the US. She's most of what I'm going to be speaking to you about today is based on her her diagnosis of legal designs, how what we need to have in place. So legal design, according to her, is about making the law more accessible, more usable, and more engaging, not just for lawyers, but for everyone. Now, legal design, for you to be able to actively come up with a proper legal design, you must be willing to disrupt the traditional law firm model. So what you've been using over the years, the method you've been using, you must be willing to disrupt it for you to be able to come up with a legal design that can now make you more productive. You must be willing to replace paper-based system with a digital workflow. You must be willing to challenge the ideas that not only lawyers can deliver legal solutions. So some people feel for a law, it's only the lawyers. From what we know now, there are AI apps and AI agents that can deliver legal solutions as well. But there are some things that are it's only a lawyer that can effectively give and give. Now, the lawyer, as a lawyer, we need to leverage AI to ensure that we are scaling and are able to compete in the global market. Now, what is innovation? You hear the word innovation. What exactly does it mean? The buzzword. Um, it's the creation of a new viable offering that adds value and is deemed as a critical requirement for all organizations to manage the development and delivery of services for today and for tomorrow. It helps to unlock the power of innovation and to deliver world class services. So innovation in itself is more or less just an idea that is brought to reality. Is what that's typical. Is the easiest way to explain what innovation. An idea, a thought process that is brought to reality. Now, legal design, on the other hand, is a way of assessing and creating legal services with a focus on how usable is that tool, how useful is it, and does it engage with all the other services. So you're running a law firm and you've come up with a legal design. The design you have come up with, it has to be usable, it has to be useful. The other things you have to put into consideration when you're coming up with such a design, you're asking yourself, what is the process flow? What is the mindset of the individual coming up with the design, mindset of the users, or the users that are going to be using those tools. So you have to do your market research on that, and then what mechanisms do you want to use for you to bring that legal design to fruition? What interface are you going to use to make that legal design accessible to the market? Now, you have to look at it that this is a totally new field, and if you want to be able to get a piece of the pie, or you want to be a leader in this area, because it's still a new field, it is something you have to really seriously consider. So legal design and design, okay, so a combination of legal tech and design will give you an innovation. Okay, so this is Law by Design. This is the book written by Margaret Hagen. Legal design basically bridges the law, it bridges our creativity. For you to come up with innovation, you must be creative with ideas. So it bridges our creativity. It basically also bridges the technology that is available, and then it addresses the diagnosed needs of the users. Legal design is a method of improving the experience of people, the experience people have with the law, so that they can better engage and use it. So this is also a quote from Margaret Hagen. So the question we'll be asking here are the services that we are planning on delivering, are they usable? Are they useful? Are they engaging? In trying to decide that, you must ensure that you have an idea as to what design. So the design must make things that people need. So whatever design you want to do, you don't just come with a design that because you think it's nice. It has to be something that is solving the problem that it has been diagnosed as a problem in the society. Sometimes for you to get that, you need to do some kind of market research to get that. Now, tech, to increase the effectiveness of people's action, is the technology being deployed? Is it in a way that it increases the productivity or the effectiveness of people? And then the law, you must have a good understanding of the law. So yes, what most of us have is that we have the law, we are qualified lawyers, we know the law, but being able to make it accessible to people in a useful, usable, and engaging manner is what a legal design will do for you. So you have different design methods and approach. A design approach to legal service will put the people and their context as the focus question, um, on how their status quo could be improved or considering the potentials of technology as an intervention. So whatever design we're making, we must ensure that the method and the approaches that we're doing, it's basically going to be beneficial to members of the society. Now, you think of you want to come up with a legal design. The very first thing you have to do, of course, is an idea in your head. When you have that idea, you start thinking. First thought process: what is the purpose of this legal design? Is it to help the layperson, or is it to help the legal professional? So when you decide to come up with a legal design, who are you aiming to help? Is it the ordinary person on the street to make the law accessible to them, or is it your fellow colleagues? So for instance, legal design for a courtroom will be a tool for legal professionals, because it will be a tool that only legal professionals. So e-filing systems, you do not have laypersons interacting with e-filing systems, unless maybe they decide to file their actions themselves. So it will be systems where you are interacting with the judge, or you are interacting with the court. So those kind of filing systems, when you come, you need to think about who your target audience is. Is it that layperson or the legal profession? Then you need to ensure that you're creating front end and a back end, ensuring that the front end looks pretty enough and looks engaging enough, and that the back end is smart in the technology way, that it's a smart, that it does what it is that it's supposed to do. And then you now need to look at what it is. How do you want to do it? Is it incremental, or is it a breakthrough long-term change? So is it something that you basically shut down the system and then build the system, and then they start off with the new system? Or is it something that you're going to do it on a breakthrough level? Sometimes some of the tools might be better to be done on a breakthrough level, and there's some tools that it's better you just shut down the old system if the old system is not working, because people usually are not willing to change. People like to stay where they're with systems that they know. Who are your stakeholders? So stakeholders, legal system, and legal professionals. You must make sure you are able to engage with them, and you must make sure you understand what complexities, what legal issues apply to them, for you to be able to create the design that would benefit them. Okay, so the front end and the back end side of it, you must ensure that whatever it is you're doing, the interfacing, the tools interface, and you must ensure that the systems themselves clearly address the issue and are engaging enough. So the front end it shouldn't just look, it should be engaging enough, it should look pretty, it should be easy to work on. All of that has to be taken into consideration. Now, legal design can work in two different levels. So it can work on an incremental level, which would be small gradual changes that improve existing processes and system, or it could be on a breakthrough level, where you use significant innovative changes that create new products. Like what I explained earlier about the kitchen renovation, you could actually decide to pull out all the cupboards, everything in the kitchen, and then basically renovate the kitchen fully by coming up with totally new products. So all of that, depending on what you have diagnosed and why you think it is necessary, you must be able to think about that in your design thinking process. What legal design can offer? So what does it offer? It offers better communication in a more meaningful manner. It provides improved service offering and relationship with the client. So when a client basically is able to interact with your tool, it improves the service offerings, and they're able to the relationship you're able to establish with them is much better. It develops ideas into new products and services where that can be commercialized and you can make a profit from it, and then it builds a culture of innovation in an organization. Design is not just about making things that are it's about making things that are intuitive, engaging, and valuable, and beloved to the people that use that. So lawyers typically think, oh, you just need to make it look pretty, you just need to make it look sharp. And no, it's a good idea to make it look pretty and sharp and look, but it must be engaging. It must be engaging. It must deliver the solution for which it is. So whatever design thinking you're thinking about, you must think about all the things. For instance, when you're coming with the design, you look at font choices, looking at the audience you have. So some people that let's say you're dealing with a person, if it's a classroom setting, you're dealing with a person that has dyslexia, you have to choose the appropriate font sizes or font choices for such a person. The colors, ensure people that have particular health, you have to ensure that whatever color that you're using to create the website or to create the app is not a color. So, for instance, you're not going to be going with yellows or fluorescent colors on the website. That's going to just be distracting the person that is coming to your website. Of course, ensuring that the PowerPoint templates are in order. So it's not about the superficial look. It is also good to have a good look and ensure that the superficial look is right, but you must make sure that it's all encompassing. So things to look at, you must ensure that it communicates visually, you must ensure that it facilitates creative solution, it must attract how to attract work and interdisciplinary teams. So the design you're coming up with must have that, how to build things quickly and intentional. It must frame and reframe the problem. So whatever problem you're trying to create a solution, it must be framed and reframed. How to interview and do ethnographic, and how to map out system and systemize issues. All of this has to be done. So the legal designer of today has to be a hybrid kind of legal professional. Are you a hybrid kind of legal professional? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Am I hybrid? Am I able to reinvent myself? Am I able to change what it is I'm doing today and make myself a better person or a more productive person, as the case may be? What is a good legal design and how can we make more of them? Good legal design requires creativity and practicality. It must be practical. The tool you are creating must be practical. It must be a design that is practical, and it must be a design that meets the needs of the users. Now, with a legal design, there are three things that you must have at the back of your mind. What is the process, the legal design you're coming up with? What is the process that it would encompass? What is the mindset? And then what is the mechanics? What is the interface system? So the mechanics will be more or less the interface system that you have to put in place for that legal design to work. So design mechanisms, more or less, what it does is speeds up your work, getting you to be much better, to design faster, to learn from other efforts. So you are able to see how someone else has done their design and learn from that. Using design processes and design mindset can also help you to find and test great ideas. So all of these things have to be in place for you to have a perfect legal design. Okay, so moving further, so I have a table on the screen that just more or less gives you a definition of what a design process is and what a design mindset. So a design process, as it were, is a structured approach to problem solving that involves specific stages and steps, whilst a design mindset is an altitude or approach that gives creative problem solving and innovation. They are both similar to for the same purpose, i.e., they solve problems and they create user-centered solution. However, with the design mindset, they solve problems and they incorporate empathy, creativity, and iterative improvement in that process. Now, the differences will be that the focus is on the steps and methods used to approach a system. So the design process focuses on the steps and methods used to approach a system, whilst the mindset basically focuses on the altitude or the mental approach that gives drive to the design process. So what do the users want? And all of that will be done on the research, or you're going out there and asking the questions, maybe a survey or something. What's the scope? With design process, it basically involves stages like research, ideation, um, um, photo, prototype and testing, whilst with design mindset, it involves things like empathy, optimism, embracing ambiguity, and learning from failures. So all of this is quite interesting. So you have various methods in which you would apply, and you have various use cases. So use case for a design process would be designing a new app, making a market campaign, or designing a user interface, whilst with design mindset to be encouraging a team to develop a user-centric approach, fostering a culture of innovation. Okay, so yes, you've come up with your design process, you've incorporated the design mindset, the process, the mechanics, you have all of that in place. What ethics do you need to put in place? So you have the for a design process, a legal design mechanism, you must incorporate the principles for good legal design. And these principles basically would help you to be able to ensure that you're following the necessary ethical processes that have been established globally. The legal design mechanisms also basically looks at the user's requirement for legal services. It basically has a core insight into what the user-friendly legal designs should look like. It includes insight into how lay people relate to the law or how they want to use the law. All of this could be done through a survey that could be sent out to your target market to know how they want to interact with your tool. Now, legal users typology, which is the previous category for, it spells out the key differences in way in which various people interact with legal taxes and product. And of course, next generation legal design typography, which lays out the kind of product and services our testing would has identified from users' needs. So all of this has to be taken into consideration. So when you're trying to come up with the design mechanisms, you have to get all that information so that you know how to interact with your users or your proposed target audience. The 6 fundamental principles for a good legal design is outlined here. It makes the users' services more empowered. It brings about a process-based view of the work. It fosters a collaborative relationship between the persons and the advocate. It gives about a bird eye view, and it's simple in the front and at the back. Okay, so moving further, the empowered strategic user. The empowered strategic user, basically, people want their inputs and their oversight of the process. So a client comes to you and they've told you they have XYZ. They want you to give them a solution, but they also want you to take into consideration their input. So in coming up with a legal design, you have to come up with a design that gives that client the feeling that they are empowered and they're also intelligent in the process. Clients do not want to come to you and just you tell them XYZ. They want you to have an engaging and interactive session. So coming up with a legal design where you are able to hear what the client is saying. And sometimes some clients don't say everything at a go. So having a tool that gives the client an opportunity to speak about what it is they want or how they want to feel empowered in this process will give you an opportunity to come up with a collaborative relationship with your client. A process-based approach, which basically means that you're presenting the legal design as a process for laying the pathways that you can use to bring about a solution. It steps out systematically from the user's perspective, from an A to B to C. So basically, that process-based approach, you're basically laying out the process as to what you intend to do and how you intend to get to Z. So that gives the client a good idea as to what should be done and how XYZ is going to be done and how Z is going to be reached. It fosters a collaborative relationship between the person and the advocate. So a collaborative relationship between the advocate and the client. Now, from what we've seen in the users' research, there are many types of people. So you have some people that like their legal services to be more engaging, and some would prefer just they're told what to do and how to do it. That collaborative, whatever tools you're creating must encompass a collaborative relationship to give the clients that want to engage the opportunity. And also it's a good way to do it because sometimes, like I said earlier, a client can come to you, they say some things, but they haven't said everything. So if you do not have a collaborative relationship where you are engaging with the client, asking questions and letting the client say what it is they're thinking, and then obviously if it's done on a tool, it is done in a way that you are able to see what information the client has given you real time at any given time, as opposed to, they said. You're able to see that information and you can then use that information. And where there's a dispute, you're able to still also refer back to that documentation for purposes of the whatever dispute that could arise, where the client said, I didn't say, but they did say. Okay, give back. So a bird's eye view that swoops in is also necessary, where you're basically coming up with a legal design. When we talk to lay people about what they want better, they consistently request a map. If you want to go from Lagos, in Lagos from Ikeja to VI, you put on a Google map and then it will take you from one place to the other. When you are looking at the Google map, you can zoom in to see what roads and what directions it is going to take you. A client wants the same thing when they come to you. They want that when they come to you, that you are able to tell them, this is how we will go, and this is how, and it is possible we may go this way or we may go this way. But they want to be able to see all of that. A legal design will place you in a position to be able to do that. It will place you in a position where you are able to come up with those design patterns that the client can know. But yes, it's possible that it could go X, Y, Z, but the design of the tool that you're using to market your product will make it easier for you to be able to do that once you've designed the tool in a way that it gives a bird's eye view. So a bird's eye view, more or less, is that the bird is up there and is able to see everything that's going from up wherever the client is. They're able to see everything that would go, whether you're turning left or turning right. Okay, so simple on the front, smart on the back. Now, with the legal design, you must ensure that the design that you're coming up with is definitely simple on the front and smart on the back. You must ensure that every clients have the options they need. Having multiple modes, which allows for accessibility and access, giving the clients access to whatever they need, and then it also helps to customize a much better experience. User requirements and insight, so ensuring that the app is in such a way that it shows respect for by the professional to the client. It shows process-based approach. It shows clear and strong branding built around user-centered value. It shows transparency and pricing. So this app that you're creating basically makes your services easily accessible and intuitive for the client. Lay people also want to experience the legal system. They want to be strategic about the law. They don't want to feel dumb about this experience. So coming up with a legal tool where they're able to get information, so frequently asked questions. They want to be able to, for instance, see that you've done something different, similar to them. One of the things we do as lawyers is that we have precedents. So, of course, with precedents, somebody wanting to engage in something, they want to see what is the precedent that has occurred in this particular area. Having an ideal tool that shows what it is maybe you've done in this area, how you handled it, all of that, with a proper legal design, that could effectively be useful to the clients. You have different types of client users. So you have hybrid users that are confident or prefer to delegate or prefer to do it themselves or are typically intimidated, or you have hybrid users. So whichever one your client is, you must ensure that they whatever you have the technology to meet their need, you understand the language of the law, and you're using a system that can generally segment the different user type. Insight into the legal design, you must ensure that people do not or just want to talk to lawyer. You must ensure that the design is in such a way that it meets the needs of the client. People typically do not just want to talk to lawyers, they want legal advice. You're not going to wake up in the morning and just say, I'm looking for a lawyer to talk to. People are not that way. If they're coming to you as a lawyer, they want legal advice. So you must ensure that you have a legal design that helps them to be able to navigate themselves to where they can get that legal advice. And they not just want it, they want to get it right. They want to get the right legal advice. They have the fear that if you sleep or you make a mistake, so ensuring that you have everything in a tool that can help them and clarify things that you may not be clear about. So sometimes a client could say something, but really they meant something, or when they said it to you, they did not give you all the details. So having a legal tool where you are able to interact with them, ask the questions, engage with them would help you. Now, legal services is a service that should help the person to walk the line well. You come to a lawyer, you want to be able to walk the line, you want them to provide assurance that this is what you're doing, you want to avoid pitfalls and ensure that you meet the end goal of the client. Having a proper legal design can help you do that, because it helps you to be able to address all the possible pitfalls that could come up. And you do not just follow the crowd, you don't just follow what everybody is doing, but you are basically giving a specific advice to a client for their specific need based on the legal design that you have created that addresses their legal need on a case-by-case basis. Of course, designing whatever tool you're going to design, it has to be done with AI, responsible AI. Responsible AI means incorporating all the ethical values of fairness, transparency, accountability, privacy, security, and reliability. Real life tools that you would look at would be legal design, e-platforms that's in legal judiciary. For instance, you have complex tenancy agreement, you have costly. People do not want to come just to do a consultation. They want to be able to, for instance, interact with a tool where they are able to ask the questions, frequently asked questions. They can look at all those things and then make a decision whether they want to go through the consultative process. Okay, so design thinking in legal innovation, of course, empathy, designing, defining the problem, ideation, prototype, and testing. This is necessary because with legal thinking, you are able to move as a lawyer from just a lawyer as written to lawyer as experience. So you're able to look at, give an advice from experience, experientially, as opposed to just written law. Examples of tools, legal design tools you could have smart contracts for land transactions, you could have chat boxes for legal aid systems, you could have interactive contracts or dispute resolution tools or visualized court processes. Now, this is an example of a designed agreement. So this is the old version will give you traditional legalese, and where you are now designing, coming up with a new legal design, you basically, the first thing you're looking at is the language. Of course, in looking at the language, you redesign with a legal design in mind. So you ensure that you now have a clear, simpler language. You ensure that digital signature signing using DocuSign or Adobe Sign is incorporated. Ensure that there's a proper visual outlay, which will be headings, bullet points, and icons to make it easier to read such document. You ensure that there's no user focus where there's one party is not overprotected over the other. So it must be empathy driven. It must explain the rights and obligations clearly and ensure that it is very accessible. So it must be mobile friendly format. So it is not a format that you say you can only access it when you come to my office, or it can only be accessed when you go. It should be accessible on the go. So the design signing flow work must be straightforward. It can be done on email, signing agreement in plain and on mobile. All of that must be incorporated to make such a lease agreement easy to be signed. But so lawyers you actually have to incorporate that in the tools. So it's, yes, we still use the old method, but why can you not come up with a tool that basically allows for digital signing flow work, which makes it easier for the landlord, the tenant, and then all of this is stored online and all the parties can access it where they need to access it. So there are various ways in which tools that are available. Law Pavilion has something. There's a DIY law that also provides stuff like that as legal startup in Nigeria. Of course, DocuSign, sign requests are all digital signature. You could use a Canvas or a Figma for visual documents design. You have PDF tools also that can be used to ensure that it is in an editable digital format. You could build entrepreneurial skills using that, ensuring that you redesign the form, you visualize the process, and you automate a simple legal document. Of course, there's challenges and opportunities. Low digital literacy, resistance to changes, and obviously opportunities. Younger people can get involved, expanding startup cultures, and government digitalization push. So all of these are different tools that can generally be used for legal design. So Canvas, Miro, Figma, Twilio, WhatsApp AI app, local NGO partnership. We're doing a training. I'm looking at doing a full training on this topic in August in person in Nigeria. So that in itself, for those of us that are interested in coming in for that kind of training, that definitely will be helpful. Where we'll be able to show you how to come up with the legal designing from the ideation stage to actually publishing. So what is our final thought? Legal design is not just about aesthetics, it's about strategy. You must combine empathy, technology, and the legal knowledge to be a creator. You have to also be a creator, not just a consumer of content. Those of us that go online, you're constantly doing I like. You too can provide a tool, and people can be liking and using your tools. What's the future of the law? It's the future of the law. It's that it is entrepreneurial and it's tech driven. Are you ready? Know that legal design is not just an update, they are actually market disruptors. It will disrupt the market, and when it disrupts the market, basically, if you're not ready, you lose out businesses to those people that are ready, that have come and disrupt the market. So it's necessary for you to ensure that you develop those skills to make sure that you are amongst the market disruptor, as opposed to people affected by the disruption. So I actually did a second example, which is land registration. Knowing what the processes with land registration is, basically, it's the same process. Empathy, ensuring that you have a clear understanding of the design thinking process, ensuring that you understand the problem. So you define the problem, why there's a need for the app. You ideate, you do a brainstorm, you come up with how you intend to solve the problem, which will be the tools that you want to do, how the tools will work, which will be the GPS navigation from the problem to the solution. Of course, coming up with the prototype, which will be the minimum viable MVP. That you need to basically have one of that. And then once you've had that, you create that, you you create an app, upload features for the CFO and whatever features you want on the app. You do progress tracking, you embed payment portals, and you now do a community feedback to report to agents. You then test. You start off with testing. Once your app is ready, you start off with testing. You collect ideas from different people, and based on a survey, and then you track how successful it has been, and then where there's need to make amendments, you make the amendment. What is the impact? Obviously, something that would take you 12 to 6 months, you might be able to do it in a period of 3 to 6 weeks using a digital flow. The high legal cost, if you are doing it on a system, it will be definitely cheaper, transparent pricing and status tracking, and then obviously rural accessibility using your mobile phones. So these are just various ways in the kind of apps that you could basically come up with. What are the tools you could use for the registration of the app? You have Figma, you have JSON, and then Twilio, Flutter, and DocuSave. So at this point, I would end for any questions. If we do have any questions, please ask the questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Obele. That was very insightful. So please, questions, please kindly just drop questions. Either you can signify with the raise of the hand, or you drop it in the comment section and we'll read it out. Thank you. Please, we're waiting. Anyone that has any questions?
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead, sir. Proceed.
Yeah. My name is James Darby. I'm calling from London, UK. Miss Obele, thank you for that beautiful presentation, which is very insightful. A couple of things I picked up from your lovely presentation. You said in several ways and a plethora of ways. You mentioned the word legal tools, app, legal design. For lawyers, are we getting into the stage whereby we should be doing the design of the app? Are we talking about lawyers being in the process of doing this legal app, providing all these tools? Again, I'm thinking if we have a particular app for a particular client, are we going to be repeating that same app for all the clients, or is it going to be one app per client and all that? Because it's very, very new terrain for a lot of us in the legal field, and I would really like more clarity on this issue.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Debbie. With the legal tools, so there are circumstances where you're basically creating apps for an individual client. Most most law firms now, you have case management tools that law firms are supposed to use. So if you're, for instance, signed up on a case management tool, some case management tools may have some services for you, but we're creating the apps, apart from the fact that it basically puts you, makes you a legal design innovator, which gives you an additional source of income. Because if you could create an app, for instance, for your own business, and then when you create that app, if that app is so successful for you to use, you can actually now commercialize it. So it could, lawyers, the way the world is going right now, you can actually create whatever it is you think, and it is because you have a good understanding of the law. It's asking, for instance, a programmer to come and create the app. Yes, they could create the app, but if they don't understand the law, they don't understand the problem, then the app may not be a proper fit for the problem. So a lawyer that understands the problem and is using the app will be able to, for instance, make amendments to the app if the app is not a proper fit, and ensure that it meets the needs of the client. So yes, the space that we're going into, you cannot just be in be a lawyer and say, I'm just going to do barrister and solicitor. You have to be able to come up with something. And even if you decide you don't want to come up with something, you have to be able to access these tools, because people create the tools and they commercialize it. So you may be able to get a commercialized version, or be a creator of the tool yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's another question on the chat box. Mrs. Obele, can you say it, please? Let me read it out.
Please read it out. It's
Okay, this one is from Mr. Patrick Albert. He says, would legal design require lawyers acquiring technical design skills like programming, or could this technical function be outsourced to technical experts?
No. As I speak to you, I basically just did a tool. Now I used Canvas to do it. There are various tools. So you can use Claude, you could use Canvas. So what I basically did, I did my ideation. I wrote out what it is I wanted to do. And then after writing out what the problem was, the solution I wanted, what I wanted the app to be able to do. So you have to do ideation. When you do your ideation, you basically use that ideation and you go to any of the tools. There's Claude. Canvas can also do it. You basically ask Canvas to create an app for you. It would actually create everything for you. It will send you the code, and once it's created the code, what you now have to do is to go into publishing. Now, where you might have some issues is with the interfacing, which is when I was talking about the legal design, the front and the back. So the interfacing is usually where there might be a need to see a professional for that. But what that does is you will only be asking that professional to do the